Hello there, beautiful souls and beautiful humans. How are you doing? RozyGlow here with a little update about what is actually going on with the energies of our current times. Now, you may or may not have noticed that we have just had a very powerful partial lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus, full moon in Taurus. Oh my goodness. We were actually having the StarPeace retreat at the very time that this was going on, and all of us who were there had the most amazing transformational experience. And I wanted to make this video because I know as we come into the post-eclipse phase, whether we've had a huge opening and been in a very supportive environment like those who joined me over the weekend, or whether we've actually just found ourselves being triggered left, right, and center with things that are going on, it felt important to be able to navigate this. So whether you're catching this on Facebook or on YouTube, thank you very much for commenting. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for everything that you do to support these messages to get out to those who need them most. Now, I made this video, Wounded Masculine and Feminine Control Tactics Change on Your Terms, as a title, because I wanted to talk about this and say that if you have caught up already with the last full moon co-creation meditation world service and healing that I offered, it was all about healing the betrayal of trust wound. It was about giving our inner masculine and inner feminine an upgrade, okay, to understand that our relationships with the men and the women in the world around us are a reflection of our inner feminine and our inner masculine maturity or immaturity, resolution or wounding. Therefore, if we end up in some form of conflict, either with another feminine, if we're a feminine, or masculine, if we're a masculine, or however, those who are coming into our lives are identifying in terms of gender, then this is going to be important for us in terms of the invitation to the upgrade. Now, I wanted to bring to our attention what I call the 6 pillars of divine human leadership. Now, these are part of my 9 StarPeace star maps that will be forming the foundation of the book that is very soon to be out. I'm intending to have the ebook out before Christmas, hopefully in time with the solstice. For those of you who want to have this experience of, well, receiving the information from the StarPeace Collective, the whole galaxy union, if you like, that has declared peace in our universe, and actually how we can make that possible here on planet Earth. But essentially, the divine human leadership pillars are integrity, accountability, transparency, discernment, compassion, and forgiveness. And so when we're operating within these 6 pillars, we're able to reflect if we find ourselves having a challenge in the outer world as to whether there's some element there of those 6 pillars: compassion, forgiveness, integrity, discernment, accountability, and transparency. Is there somewhere that we are not fully aligned with any of these 6 pillars? Because this allows us to adjust. Very, very important to remember that we're meeting ourselves in every interaction we have with others. And when we are in a state where we are overcoming a particular wound, we're bringing healing to it. I think it's very important to remember that the soul self is very keen on this adjustment, is very keen on this particular evolution and healing. But our programmed self, the part of us that is our steeped self-identity, the version of us that we think we are, is going to feel very challenged by this potential healing, because it means that the stories that we've lived by, the tenets that we uphold ourselves by, are going to be challenged. Now, I've seen around me those having challenges with the opposite sex, those also having challenges with the same sex. And I think when you've particularly come from a place where you have been in a wide open, beautiful, sacred space, and then it feels like you come down with a thud. Maybe you've had a beautiful meditation, maybe you've been away for a retreat, maybe you've just had an amazing experience that you're just bathing in, and out of left field something else comes along that seems to wallop you round the face or kick you in the ribs or in the underbelly. You can end up going, well, why me? Why has this happened? What have I done to deserve this? And that's the kind of inner victim coming up. So what I've been seeing is being invited presently for all of us is to meet our inner dictator, the part of us that says, I want change, but it has to be like this, and you have to behave like this, and you have to say this to me, and you have to show up like this. Otherwise, I don't want that change. Sorry, love. That's not how it works. Eclipses come in and they go, you don't need that anymore. And sometimes it can feel a bit like, whoa, what's that all about? My favorite toy's being taken away. It's like, you don't need it anymore. You know, when you set a strong intention and you are going through an eclipse season, that which is not aligned with it is going to go away. Those who are not a vibrational match will get close and then step away because they're not a vibrational match. So we've all heard the term dodge a bullet. Sometimes things occur in our lives that look like they've happened in a way that is not as we intended and wanted, but actually, you know, in the long term, this is going to be much better for us. So I'm saying this because as we are growing and we're evolving, we're all at different stages of the process. And when you are holding a truth around those who are not holding truth yet and not integrated in that way yet, they're going to feel very threatened and antagonized by it. And they're going to want to try and bring you down to where they're used to being, where they're comfortable for being in control. And if you are a coach, you are a therapist, you are a teacher, you are a mentor, you are a way shower, you are a healer, you are someone who is leading the way for others to follow, then of course, absolutely, it is imperative that you yourself are working within the 6 pillars that I just mentioned. You yourself are doing the deep inner work that allows you to see the world around you as a reflection of your inner world and tend to that inner world. But it's also very important to know when something really isn't yours and it's theirs, and therefore to be able to not be eaten up with a story and just allow them to have their experience. I remember Louise Hay saying a long time ago, what other people think of you is none of your business. And that is one of my rainbow gems. And I just want to remind everyone who is being courageous enough to step forward right now and, you know, actually meet their fear and move beyond it and put themselves out there in a way where they're potentially open to criticism, potentially open to other people's opinions, potentially open to judgment. That well done you. It's not easy, not when you stand forward in a way where you shine your light as an example to others, and the initial response they'll kind of have is, ooh, who do you think you are? Or they'll try and bring you down because they're not comfortable with the state that you've elevated yourself to. So let's just remember that when we request change in our lives, when we are done with something, when we reach out and we say, I do want things to change, I do want to overcome these challenges, then the right circumstances are going to start coming into your life to support you to have that change. The right people are going to come in, the right opportunities are going to come in, and you're going to get close to stuff. And all of us want our hearts to go, yeah, this is exactly what I want, exactly what I need. And yet the paradox is that as we actually move towards something that is truly going to support us to change, we're very likely to meet a lot of our own resistance. Typically, you know, the first sort of objection that anyone's taught to deal with when they're working with those to support them to grow is money. You know, usually the decision that we will make things on, or the foundational decision, is what things cost. But if we've already preempted that and got over that particular hurdle, there'll be something else. And this is the point, is I really do believe it's important that each of us who is stepping forward and willing to be way showers know that those that are assigned to you, thank you, Jen, for reminding me of this, those who are, you know, in soul contract with you to actually be supporting them in their evolution will step forward as you stand in your authority. You allow yourself to be the lighthouse, and you remember that lighthouses don't go around trying to save everyone. What lighthouses do is they just shine their light brightly, and therefore those around them get to see where the shallow waters are, where the rocks are, where the potential pitfalls are, and where the safe space is. Now, we cannot force anyone to step into the safe space, but what we can do is lovingly point out, hey, these are the potential pitfalls here, these are the potential pitfalls here, this is what may happen over here, and then trust them to do what's right for them. And that's the key. That's all we can do. So if I bring this back to, you know, the masculine and feminine control tactics and this inner dictator, all of us will have an inner dictator that seeks to try and control outer circumstances in order to feel safe. And also this part of us will basically seek to defer to the mind. So, you know, when you find yourself trying to think your way through a solution, be aware that when you're thinking, your subconscious is kicking in. When you're in a thinking space, you're not in your conscious mind awareness, okay? You're not able to truly bring in your highest self-consciousness unless you've opened yourself to that. You're stepping into a meditative state of no mind, and then you're inviting your heart or your soul through your heart to speak out so that your mind can follow the instructions of your heart and therefore move forward. That way you can actually acknowledge, yes, I'm scared, but I know this is right for me. right? Because you can meet the fears, the false evidence appearing real, and you can trust that ultimately the fact that you're scared is a good thing. It's saying to you, oh, we're moving beyond the familiar, we're moving beyond what we know. So of course our mind is going to come up with all the Jedi mind tricks. I call them Jedi mind trick gymnastics to try and keep us where we're used to being, and we'll make all sorts of excuses to try and stay where we are. And often we'll make that about pointing the finger at others. So just be aware of that. If you're in a pointy finger phase right now, if there's someone you feel you need to judge, condemn, in some way make yourself better than, be aware that this is just coming up because you feel threatened. And when I say you, I mean your ego self, your false identity feels threatened. It's scared. Who am I if I'm not this? Who am I if I don't show up this way? That's why compassion is so important, and so is discernment, because discernment means that we can actually see something for what it is. And, you know, if I'm having a conversation with someone and they're insisting something is one way and I'm the other, I then have to go, okay, let's look at this from a different perspective. In terms of the expertise here, in terms of this particular area that we're looking at, who has the expertise between these two people? Are they of equal awareness or not? Is one of them a way shower in this way or not? You know, if I'm going to insist to an electrician that I know how to wire a house, and actually I have no idea, but I've watched a couple of videos on YouTube, you get the idea, right? So knowing where the master is in that respect and being willing to say, okay, this is difficult for me. This is difficult for me to accept, but I trust you and your expertise. That's going to help, because in any situation where we want to change, trust is essential. And when our trust has been betrayed, which takes me back to that full moon co-creation, then we're going to find it incredibly difficult to trust anyone, right? So if our trust has been betrayed by the feminine, maybe mum, it's going to be difficult to trust the femmes, isn't it? If our trust has been betrayed by the masculine, maybe dad, again, we're going to have the same issue, right? So just be aware of where your trust has been betrayed in the past, and know that as we allow ourselves to do the deep inner work around healing this, bringing it to light, wonderful changes happen. So if you haven't yet done that, please do go to my YouTube channel, RozyGlow.com. You will see that there is the last full moon co-creation meditation and world service, which was for this partial lunar eclipse in Taurus. Please go ahead and do it. It's my gift to you. And I do want to announce that I'm actually going to be shifting things because things need to change. I've really been feeling this for a little while. So for a long time, I've been putting out these co-creation meditations and my energy updates, you know, out to the collective at no charge. But ultimately, they're long and they're deep and they're healings, and they deserve to be honored as that. So moving forward, I'm going to end up offering a low-cost membership for those of you who've not yet been part of my coaching program. So you can have some interactive time with me. You can have a sense of the depth of the work that we actually do, and actually build you up from a place where maybe it seems not possible to be able to step into the more high value coaching programs that are on offer, but we can get you to that place by challenging the programming that keeps you in lack. And that's why first level is to be able to commit to a low-cost membership that's going to invite you to show up and be committed to the journey that you actually want to take and the experiences you want to have. And, you know, through that, I'm going to then offer the new moon activations, full moon healings. There'll also be a Q&A once a month, and there'll be a masterclass as part of that as well. So if you're curious and you'd like to know more, feel free to comment or DM me. I'm starting a pre-list where I'll contact you all and let you know ahead of time. And yes, there will be a discount for those of you who show up now and say yes. So please do make the most of that. And also there'll be the opportunity to combine the low-cost membership with the yoga that we offer online, because it's not just me, I have other teachers that come and join me, so that you can actually have the experience of the mind, body, spirit connection that's important. Because I don't do anything just in the non-physical, just like I don't do anything purely in the physical. It's both levels that are very important. And the multidimensional tools that I teach, many of them are bespoke. They've come directly to me. Others have come from teachings that I've trained in, and I've therefore adapted to be able to offer them as I do in relation to the purpose of RozyGlow, which is to connect us all to divine grace, and therefore the power of revelation, and to go from what we don't want to what we do want. So another thing that's important here, and I'll put all of these links in the text box afterwards. So on YouTube, that will be below. On Facebook, it will be above. But I did recently offer a live called, you know, Our Collective Soul Purpose, moving from the Armageddon to the Paradise Earth timeline. And, you know, this is our collective soul purpose. It's actually to activate more joy in our lives, more grace, more ease, to notice where we are in conflict and to bring resolution. And one of the biggest challenges to this is the fact that we don't really have any fabulous examples of what the resolved masculine or resolved feminine looks like. Now, just bear with me on this. So consider this in terms of an example. And if you do have one, I would really love you to comment and to let me know, because I think it's important for us to share each other's examples and therefore grow in our awareness to what is possible. What would you say if there is a person on this earth that you feel epitomizes, maybe there's more than one, a really healthy example of a mother energy? Who would that be? And by that, I mean a mother energy that actually really looks after herself so she can be there for her children and maybe her grandchildren. A mother energy that doesn't give to others endlessly and forgets to give to herself. A mother energy that is fit and healthy and strong and isn't having to, you know, pile on the pounds to feel good because she's giving to others all of the time, and therefore, you know, the self-nurture is actually just to eat and feel better or to drink or whatever it is that is the self-medicating that we all do, because we feel the pain of the world as empaths, as those who care for others but often don't care enough for ourselves. So if you do have an example of a feminine mother energy that you feel epitomizes a healthy mother, please comment and let us know. I'm going to ask you to do exactly the same for a healthy father. Okay, our examples, if you like, of, you know, a healthy father energy, especially when it comes to divine energy, I can't even tell you one, right? I mean, we can give some examples of beautiful souls, beautiful humans on this earth, like Nelson Mandela. I'm going to mention Bruce Lipton because I love Bruce Lipton. There are some other masculines as well. I know someone mentioned Zach Bush, who's awesome. But ultimately, as a healthy father energy, a boundaried, loving, respecting, masculine father energy, that maybe we could identify with a sort of divine masculine in the same way that as a mother, a divine feminine. Do you have an example? Do you see one in the world that you would like to energize? Because the mother-father aspect of our inner family is one element, but then we also have inner feminine, inner masculine that doesn't necessarily relate to the mother-father energy. You know, our inner dictator is kind of like a version of our inner critic, our inner judge, okay? But our inner dictator is also a version of our victim that will project rather than go interfere. And, well, it's their way of going interfere is to project and try and control external things. So, yes, I want this, but it has to be like this. It has to be this way, otherwise I'm not interested, and I'm going to shut down all the gates. I'm going to go, la, 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 la. And that is just basically saying it has to be my way or the highway. And that ego isn't actually going to be able to access the changes that are sought. So just bear that in mind, okay? Now, coming back to the Armageddon / Paradise Earth timeline switch, again, I did a live on my YouTube channel, which I invite you to check out, because, you know, I went into this in detail. And what I'm inviting everybody to is an awareness that I do offer a course that takes people through the deprogramming from the fear matrix into the reprogramming of the divine matrix. And on a personal journey, it's a minimum of 6 months of the deep detox and reprogramming, but it still needs a good year after of maintenance and beyond, you know, in terms of actually allowing these changes to stick so that we can show up as the new version of ourselves and not regress. Because the ego is going to keep coming up. There's nothing wrong with the ego. We're not trying to get rid of it. We're not trying to get rid of fear. Trying to work with it. Okay, we're not even trying. We are working with it. We know that those parts of us exist for a reason. We just don't want them running our lives, right? So one element is the personal journey. The other is actually just taking a year-long deep dive where you are basically being prepared, one, through your own journey, just to deprogram and reprogram from fear to divine, and then also to be able to apply what you've learned within your own context, whatever it is you do in your work, whatever it is you do in this world, applying it to your family, applying it to, you know, your peers, applying it to those that maybe are working with you or for you, right? So I really feel so strongly at this point that I know the work that I offer isn't for everyone. I know you need to be ready to get to a certain point where you can actually meet yourself, you'll challenge yourself beyond the voice of that programmed false identity. And then you're ready. And that's why we have introductory calls, just to see whether or not that's possible. Because if, you know, I piss you off in an almighty way during that call, you're probably not ready for it, right? So ultimately, I do believe that we're all being called at this point to step forward and up. And, you know, cleaning up our inner family is intrinsic. It is essential to us being able to claim our ascended master status. Now, I'm making this video on All Saints Day. And, you know, today I believe more strongly than ever, we can connect to our divine human selves, to our ascended master selves. And remember that we are already, we hold the codes of the ascended masters, whoever it is that you feel a strong connection to in terms of ascended masters that you've heard about, and even archetypes that you resonate with. These are telling you a lot about your soul blueprint in this life, about what you are here to work with, to activate, to generate, to expand, and also the shadows that you're going to need to bring light to, and the timelines and the old stories and beliefs that are going to need, well, beliefs upgrading and stories and timelines collapsing. So that's the invitation, is, are you up for that? Because when you say yes, then trust that everything that happens is designed to get you there. Okay, it might not feel pleasant. I know that some of the things that happened in the last Taurian, what was it? It was the Taurian Libran axis. I think that was right. No, it's Taurus and yes, Taurus Libra axis was basically designed to get me to a place where I would actually have the courage to step forward and do things I was too scared to do. And what seemed like the best thing that ever happened was actually ended up being what taught me discernment in a situation where I could have just ended up like really blindly hurting myself and not realizing. And what seemed like the worst thing that happened was actually my greatest liberation. Okay, it's what allowed me to step forward fully into me and not be under the wings of my mum, my dad, or anyone else, right? So everything that happens is happening for you, not to you. And if you're still with me, I want to remind you that until 11:59 p.m. tonight, we have a beautiful offer on the Divine Navigation calls. So I offer these calls for those of you who want to have a taste of what is possible when you're doing some one-to-one work with me. What happens when you're willing to truly hear your soul truth through the expression of someone else. You know, I always act as an interface. I say this to all my coaching clients. I will be an interface for your higher self, so you can communicate with your higher self through me until you can embody your higher self and actually hear that voice without needing to hear it from someone else. So the Divine Navigation calls are where we get together, you let me know what's going on for you, where you're unsure of what to do, where you're not sure which direction to take, where you're feeling frustrated, stuck, maybe apathetic, you've lost your mojo, you're not sure what you should be doing next. And we have a communication with your higher self through your soul consciousness expressed through me, and get clarity on what your next best steps are, which way to direct your energy, what happens if you don't go down this route and you go down that route, so we can explore the different timelines. And then we end up receiving all the information we need, including the I am statements required to be able to co-create or create a co-creation meditation, a reality crafting co-creation meditation at the end that is yours. You'll have a recording of it, and then you can listen to it as many times as you need to for this new frequency to stick. So that is on offer for you for 333 instead of 555 until 11:59 UK time tonight. And if you are a friend of mine on the other side of the pond and you get this information too late, I will honor it until 11:59 p.m. in your local time zone. But you better get in quick, okay? These opportunities are here now for you to act quickly. If you dilly-dally and you sit on the fence, they're gone, and they're gone for a reason, because they're telling you you're not ready, okay? And that's okay, okay? A sacred yes and a sacred no are both as powerful and important. Now, finally, the lovely Kerri. So Kerri is someone I was so blessed to have a conversation with, and she is in Tel Aviv. She's a multidimensional healer in Tel Aviv. And together we co-created a peace treaty. Together we downloaded the StarPeace codes into Israel, into the Gaza as well. And if you want to participate and offer your healing frequencies to any area in the world that needs these higher frequencies, then again, this is a video that is available free of charge on my YouTube channel. I've been putting a lot of content out for you all to have a sense of what is possible. I am now going to start to close the doors. Okay, I'm ready for those of you who are ready to take a step forward to step forward. And I'm also nearing the end of my cycle as a coach in terms of me dealing just on the ground level with coaching. So I'm going to be working more with those of you who've already done my basic level fearless training and are ready to train as coaches. That will be what's happening in the new year. So until then, you have a final opportunity to work with me as your main coach if you would like to take the deep dive of reprogramming your subconscious. And in all the 6 steps I have that are the co-creation steps I teach in the Fearless program, honest to God, the one that is the biggest challenge is the subconscious detox and reprogramming, because you know, this is the part that will hold on so tightly to what it knows and will use every possible mechanism you can imagine to try and keep things as they are. This is why we say the ego is always seeking to try and keep things as they are. All it does is get more and more clever at hiding its intentions, right? So you learn to spot that, and that's where discernment is important. And that's where the 5th step in my process is blind spot discovery and fine tuning. Now, I figured for those of you who would be really interested in taking this journey with me, you might want to know more about the mechanisms of how and why the courses that I offer do literally take you from being on the Armageddon timeline to the Paradise Earth timeline. So next week, I will be hosting a short live masterclass webinar. We'll see what we want to call it, where I'll take you through those mechanisms so you've got them. And next week as well, on Wednesday, in the Manifesting StarPeace Facebook Utopia page, this will be the last time I offer a new moon energy update as part of just a free offering out to the world. From the month after, it will be as part of my closed membership. So now is your opportunity to join the Manifesting StarPeace Utopia Facebook group, to come and have a sense of what is possible, and to then choose to step forward. So I'm just going to recap. We have plenty of offers here. First of all, we've got on the free stuff. Go to RozyGlow YouTube, check out the full moon co-creation meditation, check out the Armageddon to Paradise Earth timeline video, and also check out the co-creating piece in Tel Aviv and in Gaza one. That's all there. They're all free. I'll put the links in the video in the text box in a moment. For those of you who would like to have a one-to-one with me, you have until 11:59 tonight for the Divine Navigation offer. I'll put the link in. All you have to do is put StarPeace in capital letters in the checkout box, and then you will get it for 333 instead of 555. And again, for those of you who would like to experience this co-creation, if you like, of what it means to be able to be in the closer energy with me, ask me questions, receive a reading specifically to the energies of the collective that are my closer group, then this is where the new moon energy update and reading next Wednesday will take place in the Manifesting StarPeace Utopia group. And I recommend you come into there too, because that is where I will host the masterclass on the mechanisms of my coaching programs and how they work. So you can get a sense of why it's not just about learning manifesting. It's not just about learning mindfulness. It's not just about mindset. It's not just about detoxing the subconscious. It's not just about doing physical practices or energetic practices to clear. It's all of these things. And then how you navigate from being a human that has been operating from your ego programming to being a divine human who co-creates your reality consciously in alignment with the highest good of all and the win-win-win in everything. We are required to see beyond the illusion of what is in front of us right now. Okay, we are required to move beyond hopelessness, to dig deeper than despair, and actually to hold in our hearts the truth that our light, the light has won. In our universe, it is the truth. We are embodying this truth and we're sharing it with the world. So bringing this back to wrap up with this idea of, you know, the inner masculine and inner feminine wounded self-control tactics. Just be aware of the way that you shut down and go, it has to be this way, otherwise I'm not interested. Be aware of where you're basically taking your position against another, and ask the question, have I opened a doorway to allow resolution? Or am I actually seeking just to close the door, nail the door, walk away, never have to deal with this again? Because there is a requirement for every one of us to be able to, what's the word that came through? To be aware of our boundaries, to respect our boundaries, because no one else will if we don't. And also beyond boundaries is actually to look at the tolerance levels that we have. How much are we tolerating that actually we shouldn't be accepting? And we need to say, I'm not interested in this. Bring me above this. This is not something I am in resonance with. Okay, this is not tolerable anymore. I'm raising my standards. Because if you keep expecting something here to meet you here, it's never going to happen. That goes in relationships, it goes in career, it goes everywhere. No one is going to see you here if you're asking those who resonate here to be able to do that. You have to be here and call out from here. Okay, and there'll be those that come towards your light that like the sound of that light and want to be a part of it, but won't do the work themselves. They won't show up and step up, in which case you have to let them go, right? And then as you let them go, someone else will come in, and that being that will be able to come in will be able to meet you at the level you want to be met. But we have to say no to what we don't want. Just looking at healthy boundaries and respect starts within. Absolutely, it absolutely does. So let's leave this here, otherwise it's going to end up being super long. But I do, again, welcome your comments. I'd like to know where you're at. How are you feeling post-eclipse? How are you doing since you did the deep shadow work of the full moon co-creation and world service? Are you interested in a low-cost membership? Are you interested in joining me for the deep dive of the Fearless, Loved Up and Limitless course? I'm intending to get going again with the next round on the 22nd of this month, so in 3 weeks' time. And it's a great time to be getting involved as we get toward the busiest months of this year, right? Where you easily lose your cool. And this allows you just to really step into that place of sovereignty, witnessing the beautiful graduates who've recently graduated from the program, seeing them at the retreat this weekend and how they've grown. Honest to God, I can't tell you a more rewarding job than the job that I've had this time to actually see people through it. It's beautiful, okay? And every one of us needs to know when it's time to step into the next role in our lives. And that's why I'm speaking with you now on this level, because I am ready to step into the next level. So those of you who meet me at this point, that are resonating at this point, are ready for that bridge yourselves, okay? You're in a hybrid space like I am, and it's going to help you get to the next place. So I'll leave that there. I look forward to hearing from you all. Please do share any reflections on resolve masculine, resolve feminine, especially in terms of mother-father roles. Like, who could you say? If you might know someone personally, or there might be someone who's a public figure that we can talk about, but please use the comments and let me know how this is all feeling for you. And if you have felt like a big wallop out of nowhere when you've been in a beautiful, expansive space, just remember that's a shadow element that wants integration. That's all. And again, your discernment can say, all right, interesting, this came up. I'm now not open to this anymore. I'm integrating whatever lessons I need to learn here. And now I'm wanting to be met at this level. So I'm going to raise myself in all ways to this level. So this is my experience. When we go into reacting, when we go into throwing our toys out the pram, when we go into shutting down, putting a wall up, pushing everyone away, okay, this is going to tell us something about how our own boundaries need some adjusting. So I'll leave that there. Look forward to seeing you for the last free new moon energy update and reading that I'm going to be doing, which will be, there's usually some light language that comes through as well. It'll be next Wednesday. And I'll also be announcing for by the end of this week when I'll be going live with the mechanics of Fearless, Loved Up and Limitless. All right. Take care for now, beautiful ones. Lots of love.